Hello again, Ebon Pinion back with another knife fight for you. And today's knife fight will be against the CRKT Hissatsu folding knife and the Ontario Rat 1. Now as far as which one I would go with, it really depends on what you're talking about. Tactical, I think this one would be better, the Hissatsu. Just everyday, carry and even pushing it into a tactical role, I would go with the Ontario Rat 1. I like the Ontario Rat 1 much better because it has that overall, use quality to it. But they're still both really good knives, and I'm going to give you, of course, the comparing of both pros and cons that I think each one has. And you get to decide from there, obviously. Now handles, the Ontario Rat 1 uses what's known as a nylon 6, and it's fairly thick slabs and not very grippy. It has some texturing, but they're pretty nice. Full stainless liners, while the Hissatsu uses sort of like glass reinforced nylon handle scales. I believe this is an aluminum backspacer, maybe a steel backspacer, over nested steel liners. It's hard to say which one I think has better strength in the handle. I guess I might go with the Ontario Rat 1 on that. I think this handle material is probably a lot better than on the Hissatsu. It feels like it would be much more rugged and stronger. Pocket clips, they both have reversible pocket clips, but for the Ontario Rat 1 you get 4-position pocket clip, which is pretty nice. They included the lefties. The Hissatsu includes the lefties, but there's a problem. I mean, it's tip up carry on either side, but the problem is that this comes with the auto locks, which is both an advantage and disadvantage. It's a disadvantage, I think, to lefties because it makes it much harder to disengage the blade and close it, especially one-handed. But nevertheless, they did include the lefties, so gotta at least give them that. Deployment, they're both quite fast. The Ontario Rat 1 is not assisted. You can get an assisted version of this. The assisted version comes with G10 handle scales, but that's pretty much the big difference aside from it having a spring assist to it. But this is fine without the spring assist. This is cheaper. The regular Rat 1's cheaper, and it still flies open as if it was assisted. So I think it's just gimmicky that they make an assisted version of it. This particular Hissatsu is assisted. You can get a manual version of it. I'm pretty sure the manual version flies open just as fast, but this is the assisted version. As far as blades go, you have a full flat ground blade on the Rat 1. It's a drop point. You have a shallow hollow grind on the Hissatsu, and it's sort of a modified traditional tanto point. As far as slicing, I would think I would go with the Ontario Rat 1. I think it performs better at slicing with that full flat grind. To me, the Hissatsu would be very effective at piercing. I mean, that tip is made to pierce. You can slash with this, and you could do other utility type things with it as well, but it's definitely made to pierce, and it offers roughly a similar tip, maybe a slightly thinner tip than on the Rat 1. So the Rat 1 may be better as far as tip strength going, but ease of piercing, the Hissatsu is definitely going to pierce easily with no problem. This has a black titanium nitride coating. I believe it's titanium nitride coating on it. So that's very good. You can get the Rat 1 in a black coated version, but the black coating rubs off easily. It's just like some sprayed on coating. So they're both made out of AUS 8. So they both use that very similar steel. You get more of a cutting edge on the Hissatsu. Slightly more cutting edge. They both have similar blade lengths. And the Hissatsu is just a bit longer. As far as blade thickness, you're going to get more of a thick blade out of the Hissatsu. So being AUS 8, there's not going to be a difference much. They're both going to hold similar edges. Depending on which company does what their treatment of the blade steel is, but otherwise they're probably going to hold the same edge, have the same, corrosion resistance. But of course you're going to get better corrosion resistance on the Hissatsu because of that coating. So, for overall utility, I'm going to go with the Ontario Rat 1. Or just overall, usage of the blade, I would go with the Rat 1. Lockup, they both use liner locks. I believe the Hissatsu has just a slightly thinner liner lock. Barely, but just slightly thinner. But as far as, strength of lockup, they both have pretty good, liner locks. But Hissatsu I would go with because it has that auto locks. So, if you got to disengage that lock in order to disengage the liner lock. So I would give that to the Hissatsu. Ergonomics, they're actually both very ergonomic. I think the only reason I would go with the Rat 1 on ergonomics is because it has this nice thumb ramp with jimping here. Whereas the Hissatsu, pretty much my thumb is laying here, right in this slot. I would rather have something, as far as some jimping back here or on the blade or something. But they're both really ergonomic, and that's something that I thought the Hissatsu wouldn't really be. It's very ergonomic, but it's actually pretty ergonomic. I'm very surprised by it. So they're both quite comfortable. I would say that the Hissatsu, being a little bit thicker, offers more comfortability in the hand, but if it had that jimping, like on here, on the Rat 1, it'd be perfect. So it really depends. For my thumb, I'm definitely going with the Rat 1. It's still very comfortable in hand, very ergonomic, but for hand filling goodness, I will go with the Hissatsu. So lanyard hole, you get it only on the Rat 1. Yeah, beyond that, they're both pretty good. They're both pretty good knives. Like I said, for tactical, I definitely go with the Hissatsu. That's definitely going to get the job done. For just all-around use, the Rat 1. So, as far as price goes, you're going to be able to find the Rat 1 pretty much cheaper than you will the Hissatsu. I think I got the Hissatsu for, was it 40? Maybe 40, 30, 40 or something like that. So, I got the Rat 1 for 30. I got this for not too much more. So, but it really depends on where you buy it from. So, anyway, that's my knife fight. Thanks for watching. God bless.